Hi, I'm Lou Gallagher. Automated speed cameras?
I'm Corvette Ronnie. They could be coming to a town near you.
Next on Men Are So Smart. California lawmakers are discussing a pilot program that would put speed cameras on California streets during a 5-year pilot program.
AB 342 was written by Assemblyman David Chu. He says speed kills and cameras could help reduce the number of deaths. On Thursday, a member of the Sacramento Bicycle Advisory Committee will urge Sacramento leaders to get behind the pilot program proposal and possibly become one of the cities where data is collected.
So Sacramento is on the potential list.
Yeah.
Speeding is a big issue, says a member of the committee. He says, we need to reduce speeds. It will save lives. We want to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries. My question is, how many serious injuries are we talking about here?
Well, according to data collected from CBS 13, reports on average 26 people die on Sacramento City streets every year. Seifert says cameras can deter people from pushing the pedal. It's there to enforce 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Something a police officer can't do.
Okay. There is the issue right there I want to get to. We already have traffic light cameras.
Yeah.
The jury is still out on those
Yeah.
as to whether or not those are saving lives, loss of property, legal matters, so on and so forth, whether they are constitutional. We have them. And those traffic light cameras take a picture of not just your license plate, but also you behind the wheel. So there's no denying what's going on. Now, conversely, if it's someone else behind the wheel, then what, Ronnie?
So I've been to court on I've been to traffic court when they were discussing a couple of these. And in one case, a man had just shaved off his mustache and said, that wasn't me, that's my cousin. And the judge said, it looks like you with a mustache. And so
those judges.
Yeah, he fined the man and said, if it truly is your cousin, then you can have your cousin pay you back.
That's why they're judges.
It's good stuff. And the reality is that the reason they have them at intersections is there are no two more deadlier forces than cars coming together in that sort of fashion. Rear end collisions, there's going to be injuries and everything, but deaths you don't typically get unless you're on a freeway and you're rear-ended by a semi or something like that. You're not going to get killed, especially in a modern car, by getting rear-ended by somebody. So intersections are huge. Now these speed cameras, my daughter and son both went to school in University of Arizona, which is in Tucson, and they're widely used in Arizona on the freeways. Speed cameras.
On freeways?
Yes, they use them on the freeways there.
Ah.
And what was great about it is we got a notice sent back to us. Our car was obviously registered in California. I was the registered owner. My daughter was driving it. And I get this notice. It came back as a courtesy notice that said, yes, while passing through our town, we clocked your vehicle doing, 75 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone. And, please be more careful in the future. No fine. That was for the first one. And we told her, hey, you got to watch your speed a little bit. We just got this notice. Mm-hmm. She got a couple speeding tickets in Arizona. They realized after the first one that she's not just a tourist. She is somebody that's
a resident.
Yeah, living and working in Arizona. So there's, if you're going, and I don't know what they set these cameras at, but the cameras don't have any leeway. Whatever they set it at, if it's 2 miles an hour over the speed limit and that's what you're going, guess what? You're going to be notified and you're probably going to get a ticket for it.
So it makes no difference what the flow of traffic is.
Right. If there is nobody on the road and it's 3 o'clock in the morning you better not be going more than the speed limit. Doesn't make sense, honestly.
Okay, so now you and I have discussed this in previous episodes and on the radio show as well. You tell us that as officers of the law who write tickets for vehicle violations, you have a little bit of a grace period that you give people. Tell us about that.
So personally, I'm all about 10%. So if you're, on a road where it's 65 miles an hour, you're going to get about 7 miles an hour out of me personally. And that's just to allow, and although now if you're in a fairly modern car, speedometers are fairly accurate. In fact, very accurate. There probably is less than 1% error in a modern car. Older cars, that's a little bit different story, and people have changed the tire sizes. It can affect the speedometer reading. On new cars, not so much. However, with that being said, I will generally give 5 or 6 or 7 miles an hour on a freeway. Less so in town, where if it's a 40 mile an hour zone, you get about 4 miles an hour out of me. So, roughly 45, and you're going to get a ticket on a 40 mile an hour zone.
Okay, so now my next question is, what is the mechanism that operates these speed cameras? Is it a radar gun per se?
It should be. I'm not sure. I don't know how they worked exactly in Arizona. We haven't seen these in operation yet in California. I don't know how else you could possibly do it. It would have to be radar, or very likely could even be a LiDAR, which is a laser, which is way more accurate. It's 100% accurate.
Okay, next question. In California, we have, in fact, on my way from my house to Ronnie's house, I think I go through 3 of these. They are signs on the side of the road that are digital, and they notify you of your speed as you are passing the sign. And if your car goes over, let's say the speed limit is 45, if you're doing 47, it'll show you 47, and then it'll flash slow down.
Right.
Okay.
And if you were to go like maybe 5 miles an hour over that, it'll flash in red.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Well, I'm going that fast.
It's a good way to check your speedometer. So if you want to make sure it's accurate to 80, you can just go 80 past warning. Yeah.
Oh, so you're recommending I do that on
That's
the way
what I
home?
do all the time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha, officer. All right. So these would be the same principle as that, Ron?
It really is. In fact, you can buy those. Our neighborhood association was looking into purchasing signs like that for our neighborhood to advise people to slow down. They're not very expensive. It was about $3,000 with a solar adapter, and it just runs all the time. It collects enough light during the day to keep it running all night long.
So then essentially all that machine would have to do is track data.
Yes, yeah. And in fact, there are some where you can plug in a little USB drive and it will download a series of calculations for you. And you can see when and where the most people are violating that law. And so if you want to have CHP come out here, you can give them a heads up and go, hey, I wouldn't worry about any time except between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. That's when the majority of the people are going way over the speed limit.
I get you.
So it'll track everything for you. Again, depending how much money you want to spend. And I think the name of the company is Traffic Logic or Speed Logic. I can't remember exactly.
We'll get that for you and link it. Now, here's the gray area for me. It's my observation via research that these red light cameras seem to be doing more harm than good. And when I say that, let me justify it by saying I slow down on a green light knowing that it's a monitored intersection. I slow down so as not to be in the middle of that sucker when it turns yellow, so that the tail end of my car is visible to the camera. You with me?
I gotcha.
Okay, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm slowing down for a green light that cannot be safe for people behind you.
Well, and the other thing you see happening is people coming up there, and if the light turns yellow, you're perfectly fine to proceed through an intersection on yellow light. Your car just has to be in the intersection before it turns red. But what they will do is they'll come across yellow light and slam on their brakes, causing the person behind them to run into them, or maybe 3 or 4 cars back, there'll be a collision.
Sure, a chain of events.
Because of that slamming on your brakes.
Okay. All right, now, Ron, what is the fine first offense?
It's big.
$400?
Yeah, it's like $450 for a red light violation.
Okay, all right.
And it's expensive because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to go through a red light.
Granted. But where does revenue generation come into play in this? And I need you to be honest as you can be, as always.
Well, and that is what's kind of taken a lot of these offline. A lot of the cameras that were, not a lot, but several of the cameras that were working had different variances in the amount of time after the light turns red to where it would take the picture. Yes. So they need to, if you make it uniform, and I don't know what the standard is, but if it's 1/10 of a second after it turns red, that's fine. As long as it's industry-wide, as long as every red light camera has the same. If they're different, then you don't know what you're dealing with when you come up to any particular intersection. Honestly, if there's a police officer there and that light is red and your car is not in the intersection yet, and then you go through it, you're getting a ticket. Doesn't matter what the duration is. So if it's a human involvement, there's no leeway. The cameras gave the minutest of leeway on these, and so now there is some talk, and some of them have, like I said, they still operate. The cameras are still there, but they don't issue tickets for several of them.
Okay, losing even one life is important. I understand that. However, now, what they're telling us is that speeding is resulting in 26 deaths per year in the Sacramento and surrounding area. Not all of California. I understand that. But I know that these speeding tickets are going to be expensive. What is the going rate above the speed limit?
So they break them down, speeding tickets, into 3 tiers. The first tier is like 0 to 9 miles an hour over. Second tier is 10 to maybe 19 miles an hour over. And then 20 and above is your third tier. And those third tier tickets are very expensive. I know I've seen them up over $750 for a speeding ticket. So, and then there's also, they have a separate section that deals with 100 miles an hour
excessive
and over. Yeah. So, and that one is like $1,500. It's a very, very expensive ticket. Really, it's fitting because that's 0 to 9 miles an hour over. It's not safe, but not necessarily crazy dangerous. If you're going 74 miles an hour and a 65, I get passed by people. I drive. I'm old and retired, and I drive almost in the right-hand lane and drive the speed limit all the time. I just set my cruise control. I have people passing me at 85 miles an hour.
Was that you at passed?
Routinely, yeah. And so, whereas 85 miles might seem kind of excessive, in a modern car, my truck has airbags all around the cab. I honestly don't know that I could kill myself in my truck if I hit something in it. It just seems about as safe as it can possibly be. Not everybody drives a brand new vehicle with side curtains, pillar airbags, and they come out of my seat. They come out of everywhere. I can't imagine what
Come out of your ass.
Yeah, I can't imagine what my truck would look like if they all deployed at the same time. But it'd be a lot like that Judge Dredd movie or whatever that is, where the car fills up with foam and then he kind of breaks his way out. It would be very similar to that. So not everybody has a brand spanking new car. Boy, there was a time when you could only get driver's side airbags.
Yeah.
Passenger side airbags were still cost prohibitive.
Right.
So, but, probably since about the early 2000s, they've been in everything on both sides. So,
all right, we're just about out of time here, Ronnie, and I appreciate this has all been very good information that people aren't going to get anywhere else. This is from an officer of the law. Let's just do a point-blank question. Do you feel that AB 342 is legislation that will help to save lives or generate income for the state? Yes or no?
not a fan. It costs a lot of money to do these tickets still. Somebody still has to go through and review them and look at them and look at the picture, and it's going to cost everybody money in the long run.
Revenue generator, people. That's what your buddy Lou is saying.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. We're looking at the law today with Officer Ron. You've enjoyed the show. I hope that you'll like it. You'll be happy to comment or leave some information for us. We'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, if you enjoyed this show, please be sure and subscribe to our channel. You'll find all of the links below, including our Facebook page, which is Men Are So Smart. How about do it? Anything else you want to say?
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time on Men Are So Smart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I got something. Wait,